The defense, more reaction now to the Senate impeachment trial from a member of the president's defense team, House Judiciary Committee ranking member Doug Collins. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here, Maria.
So your reaction to what you heard yesterday, and I think it was I don't know, interesting maybe strategy of the House prosecutors calling out the Senate. You had comments from Adam Schiff saying that the White House must have warned you that if you go against the president, your head will be on a pike. Or Jerry Nadler saying to the jury, the senators, you are involved in a cover-up. Your reaction?
It's pretty amazing. I mean, if you're a lawyer and you're going to present your case to the, quote, jury, the first thing you don't do is go insult them and actually make a case in which they are turned off by what you're saying. But it's not a shock, because here's what happened with the House managers. The reason they did it is, number one, is the president's not guilty. He did nothing wrong. The facts and the truth are on the president's side, and the House managers know that. We knew that coming over from the House. Number two, we knew it was a political impeachment, because when they actually looked at it from the perspective of what they want to do, they didn't want to go to court. They didn't want to take the witnesses. They didn't want to do the due diligence that they should have done in the House. So it was a political impeachment. So what are you left with? Well, I guess if we're left with it, let's see if we can shame the Senate into doing our job for us. But I think it backfired on them, especially when, you know, Chairman Nadler said that if you don't agree with me, then you're basically corrupt, that you're hiding something. That's just that just should show the American people in a clear form that the House managers have nothing on this president except smear, innuendo, and an election in 2020 in mind.
Well, Adam Schiff got choked up toward the end of his closing argument, and then you had Nadler calling Trump a dictator who needed to be removed.
It is amazing that Chairman Nadler has just been, you know, so obsessed really with this president and trying to impeach this president. He ran on it to become the chairman of the Judiciary Committee because he wanted to be one to impeach the president. But Adam Schiff getting emotional is a little bit farcical to me. Here's the same man who is the, if you want to talk about witnesses, he's the number one fact witness. He should have been called. He had contact with the whistleblower, and claiming that he doesn't know who the whistleblower is or anything else is really too much. But for him to get emotional, he should be emotional about the tragedy he put this country through the fall of this past year to attack this president. If he wants to get emotional about something, get emotional about the fact that you have smeared a president who has done his job and put America first and put us in a position of world leadership, not the tearing down of politically that you've tried to do to him.
Well, that's a good point, because this is what I referred to earlier with Senator Graham, and that is that there is a transcript of the Inspector General, who was one of the witnesses in the House, that we have not seen. And I know that Congressman Ratcliffe is going to talk about that as well. Why hasn't that transcript been released?
Well, that's a great question for Adam Schiff. It's a great question to understand how did the House managers, how did the House send over documents and begin this impeachment when they're actually still in violation of their own resolution, which, by the way, was set up after the fact. I think the president's lawyers did a great job yesterday of showing how the sham impeachment started by Nancy Pelosi just deeming it to happen, had to be corrected when they passed House Resolution 660 almost a month and a half later. This just goes to show that they're still in violation of their own rules. It is just a onerous attack by Democrats who had only one thing in mind: let's impeach the president. Remember Nancy Pelosi's words: he's impeached for life. He'll never get rid of this. That sounds more like somebody on a vendetta to smear somebody than it is to actually find truth, because the truth is he did nothing wrong.
And Ted Cruz on this program last weekend said he will be acquitted for life, by the way. That was from Senator Cruz. Let me ask you about where this is going. How does Monday, tomorrow, play out? And do you have any sense of what your colleagues in the Senate on the Democrat side are feeling here? Because there is some suggestion that at least 3 Democrat senators perhaps will vote to acquit the president.
Well, if they honestly look at the evidence, that's what they should do. There should be more than 3 on the Democratic side, but partisan politics is always at play here. I think what we have seen, and it's just amazing, that once they made their case, they used, as Senator Graham said earlier, they pick and choose facts that they wanted to use. We saw this all throughout the House process, and every time that we would bring up the witnesses, the fact that there was no firsthand witnesses that actually said the president did anything wrong, even Sonderland, who is their main witness, who said he admitted that it was his presumption, when they, you know, this could have all been stopped with one thing. And the president's fond of saying this, but that's also something that's very true. If Nancy Pelosi had waited one day, Speaker Pelosi had waited one day and read the transcript, just read the transcript, There's nothing wrong here. They got their money. There was no pressure. And for the Democrats to continue to tear down President Zelensky and to try to tear down President Trump over this is just a shameful act.
Congressman, we will continue following this. We so appreciate your insights on this very important matter. Congressman Doug Collins joining us. We will see you soon, sir.